Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Reginal Drummer, the Peopleologist, coming to you live on this Sunday, July the 17th. With less than about 4 or 5 months left in the year, we're faced with a lot of different challenges. And over here tonight, we'll be talking about pandemics, plandemics, and pandemoniums. I'll be joined by some other brothers that will be sharing some information that could be critical for you, your family, and your community. I'll say that again. It could be critical for you, your family, and your community. Also, encourage you to like, subscribe, uh, and hit that notification button over here at Square Mile Media Atlanta. We're about to get into our 100 episode. So that's a milestone. When we get those subscribers up and everybody liking and sharing and subscribing that page. When we launched this I guess about a year ago, we didn't think about what we're going to do with that, but it's starting to pile up. We got a lot of information out there. We got a lot of contributing people. But tonight, because when we think about pandemics, plandemics, and pandemonium, and even paindemics, we have to ask ourselves, are you ready? Will you be prepared? Will your family be prepared? Will the person next to you be prepared? There are a lot of things out there we have to be taking note of, and we have to pay attention to at all times. Nobody's coming. And if they do come, they might have another agenda for you and your family. I want you to think for a moment. Just imagine if you were in the Ukraine. Okay? If you were in the Ukraine. I don't know how many people out there have ever been in the military, have ever been in a situation where you were in a country and all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose. All hell broke loose. It was anarchy. You were in the streets defending for yourself, your family, whoever you can mount up against or with to help you protect your interests. Now, that's an extreme situation. Most Americans can't even fathom something like that. Our day-to-day lives are so, let's say, pacified, and we are kind of immune. However, with everything that's going on now, America could be in that situation any day. America could be in a situation like that any day, especially now. When you look at what's going on here in America, we took a hit probably, 2019? Well, let's go back a little bit. At first, everybody said when we started prepping, people thought that 2000 was going to be the last year. That was going to be it. 2000, party over, that type of thing. Everybody was saying that was it. 2000 was going to be it. So everybody started prepping, getting ready for 2000. They said the computers were going to lock up, airplanes were going to be falling out the sky. All the things that worked on computer systems were going to be malfunctioning. So people started prepping. Well, people were prepping before that. Prior to that, they were prepping during the 40s and the 50s because they thought it was going to be a nuclear war. And that was the last time America really prepped. That was the last time America really prepped. People had bomb shelters. They started putting food in pantries and storage areas. That was one of the last times that Americans really prepped during the Cold War. And that lasted a couple years up until Reagan. And then probably somewhere around Reagan years, people started, saying America's good. We ain't got to worry about that. But then natural disasters started to happen. Hurricanes. The 80s brought us into a situations where we started to get hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, and all kind of catastrophic events started to happen. 80s and 90s. And then, that got us getting ready for 2000. We said, man, 2000 is going to be it. So you better start prepping. Organized preppers came from all over. I remember rolling somewhere in 96, 97 with a group of preppers out in Woodstock, Georgia. I was still in the reserves, so I had a little military, and we would go out there and camp out for 4 to 5 days. Get out there on a Thursday and just take what you had, and live in the woods. you know, and it was kind of interesting. It wasn't too hard. They told us everything we needed to bring, so we were kind of prepared. Plus, I had a military background, so hey, it was kind of easy. Everything I needed, I put it in a little bag. Things like I had things that I needed: water, a water container, uh, a flashlight, just basic things. We're gonna go into that a little bit later. But prepping got me into the mindset of what to do if something bad happened. What to do if something bad happened. Fast forward, 2000 happened. Whole lot of things didn't go down. But a couple years later, what? 2001. Remember that? 2000, September 11th, 2001. Anybody can think about that? September 11th, 2001 was when the World Trade Center uh, blew up. However you look at it, conspiracy, whatever. But America changed. The whole game changed. Everybody started to pay attention because everything changed. They started to do certain things to the public, invading your privacy, making sure they checked on you, in kind of like FBI, CIA motion. So people started to get a little paranoid, and people started really to prepare on another level, not just prepping against a natural disaster, but prepping against a government takeover or something like that. So people started preparing after 9/11. That's when the airports started getting security up. All the stuff started to change in 2001. Fast forward, other things started to happen, and I think 2000. I forgot what year that was. The Mayan calendar. Remember that when Mayan calendar and people were getting ready, they thought the world was going in. Fast forward, 2019, COVID-19. COVID-19 happened, and that really changed how we look at everything. Yeah, we had some disasters, we had some fires, we had a whole lot of natural disasters. But when this happened, it shook everybody up. It shook everybody up. Remember, when they had floods, they were isolated. You might have some floods out in Oklahoma, Mississippi. You might have had flash floods in Missouri. You had fires up in Seattle and California and Georgia. I think one time they had some fires out, but tornadoes and hurricanes were pretty much taking care of the South. But when COVID-19 happened, it really put people to start thinking. It really put people to start thinking about preparing themselves and being ready for end time. There was a lot of movies that came out that showed you what could happen, the possibilities of what could happen if an end time situation happened. Remember, I Am Legend. Even before that, the Renaissance Man. If you look at any of those movies, they were talking about end time situations. Now, when we look at preparing ourselves, hopefully I'll be joined by the other gentleman in a bit. I'm getting a text from one of them now. But when we look at getting ourselves ready, and I want to go into a couple, just 4 areas. One, if there's a 1 to 7 day problem, that means for 1 to 7 days, the power is out. They interrupted your normal living habits. You might can't go to work for 7 days. Might be water contaminated, like up in I think Flint, Michigan, down in Mississippi, just for 7 days. Are you ready for a 7-day survival? And these are some things that you need to have in your house, or on your person, if you are interrupted for about 7 days. Of course, water. Water. You would be surprised how much water you need. Okay, for 7 days, you can go out and buy some water. You can do this now. Everybody should have an adequate water supply. The rule of thumb is about 3 cases of water for one individual for a 30-day period. 3 cases of water for one individual for a 30-day period. Okay, that's 3 cases of water. 12 cases, what, 12 bottles, or 12 to 24 bottles in a case. So you're looking at 24, 24, 24. So 72 bottles of water uh, can probably get you through a 30-day period. That's drinking water, drinking water, drinking water. Uh, if you're fortunate in a 7-day period, you'll probably be in your home. You'll probably be in your home. So you want to have things ready for the house, water, uh, and if you got enough warning time, uh, you can store water in your bathtub or your sink. A lot of people got showers; they don't have those big bathtubs. But if you got a big bathtub, you can store a lot of water, and you can use that for flushing your toilets, things of that nature. You got to think about it. In 7 days, it's not a lot of damage that can be done. It's a lot of more mental. I encourage everybody, if you can do this over a weekend. I've been doing this for the last couple of years. I'll just turn all the power and the water off. I'll turn all the power and the water off in the house. And this is a good way to find out what you need. Turn all the power and water off in your house for 3 days. Do it on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, or something like that. You turn all that power off, all that water off. You start finding out. Now, if you're single, it's a lot easier. If you got a family, significant others, you got to get them in the game. That means that they have to get ready. Now, one person might, once you start doing this and practicing this, it can get you in the preparatory mindset. But if you shut that power and water off for 3 days, just 3 days, you'll find out things that you need. Now, it's a discipline exercise. It's a discipline exercise to put you in the mindset of what to do. If you turn your power and your water off for 3 days, you'll find out a couple of key things. You'll find out within a couple of hours, you might need some water. This if you don't have nothing. This if you hadn't prepared yourself for nothing. You can't think of nothing to put together for you, for me, myself, and I. Shut it down for 3 days. In 3 days, you'll find out what you need. You know you're going to need some water. You know, if you got medication, if you're on any meds, if you're on any meds, you should have a 30-day supply of meds. You should have a 30-day supply. If you food, your power was off for 7 days, you can count the freezers out. Okay, you can count that out. Any stored meats will start to smell or be just spoiled. Okay, that's a 7 to 30-day experience. So you got to think about that. So okay, now if power goes off for what, 3 to 7 days, you might can be fortunate if you don't open that freezer a lot to have meat there, but you got a little storage. You got something to store that meat. So you're fortunate. Now, toilet paper. You got to think about if you don't have any running water. You don't have any running water. At some point, you're going to have to figure out a way to handle your sanitation. Even if you're doing it 3 days, you don't have no plumbing. You ever been without plumbing for 3 days? Couldn't flush the commodities of the toilets. It's going to get a little gross, but you're going to have to figure out ways to dispose of your waste. Okay. Now, if you ever been camping, there's a couple ways you can dispose of waste. Okay. If you got some plastic bags, and these are things you start adding to your list. You got some plastic bags, some little trash bags. You can add that to your list because that's got to be used for solid waste. You got solid waste. It's going to start, especially after 7 days. Okay, especially after 7 days with no running water, no power. This can help you and your family store the waste. Okay, and a couple of key things. Other things you got to have. You said, man, bleach. There's a couple of things that you can do to keep down odor and bacteria, but you don't want to mix them. Bleach, vinegar, and ammonia. Okay, you don't want to combine them. If you got bleach, Clorox, just Clorox. We'll talk a little bit later about how you can use Clorox to clean your water supply. Believe it or not, that's how all water is cleaned with chlorine. But you gotta do your homework. You have to do your homework. You have to do your homework. If you're gonna take Clorox and use it for drinking water purposes. But for cleaning and sanitation, bleach is a powerful tool, and you'll figure why that's important. Also, in that 3-day period, you got to think. You say, okay, bleach is for keeping down odor and bacteria and all that type of stuff. Another good thing to have is peroxide. Peroxide. If you get a cut, you bump yourself. It could be a storm, and you could get some glass breakage or something like that. You start practicing with 3 days. Believe it or not, just from having the power out for 3 days, I stubbed my toe. I couldn't see in the dark. Okay, I had to find a way to stop the bleeding of my toes. A good thing I had that peroxide. I didn't get a big infection. Peroxide and Listerine. Peroxide and Listerine. These are things that you got to have in your kit. These are things you'll think about if you do without stuff for 3 days. Okay, you really start figuring out what you need for critical survival for 3 days. Okay, Listerine, and I say Listerine, old-fashioned Listerine, old school Listerine. None of this mint flavored, all this whitener stuff. Regular old school Listerine. You can use it to cut down odor. If you got, you might, especially after 30, 60, 90 days, you got to cut down odor. Listerine and peroxide mixed appropriately. It won't cause your skin's rashes. It won't cause a whole lot of things, and it'll keep down odor. It'll keep down odor. Vinegar will do the same thing. Vinegar will do the same thing, but Listerine and peroxide, that mix is a lot more friendly. Okay. A couple of key things, and those, like I said, if you start practicing right now, I'm talking about today, anybody can do this, and you'll figure out where you are, not where everybody else is, where you are. In a 7-day period, most likely, stores won't be closed. Stores won't be closed. They might run out of food, but people might, it'll be, if you've been prepping yourself, especially you do the 3-day thing, you say, okay, what can I eat? Okay. Now I want you to think about this. Okay, power is out. You don't have a microwave. Okay, power is out. You do not have a microwave. Water is out. Only water you have is the water that you stored up. So there are a couple key things that you can have that you can survive with. You got cereal, brand cereal is good. You've got non-perishable items like nuts and peanuts and things of that nature. If you diabetic, take the ones that don't have salt. But these are things you could be thinking about, because you say, well, in 3 days, I gotta use what I've got. Okay, and that's going to help you prepare yourself. Now, if something goes deeper, that means it's a lot worse than a 3-day or 7-day situation. Okay, when you're in a 7-day situation, usually the Red Cross and a lot of people like that, they can get in there and handle something. 7-day situation, I think Atlanta had it when they had power outage, but a lot of people had a lot of problems. Believe it or not, a lot of people can die in 7 days. A lot of people can die in 7 days. A lot of people can die in 7 days for lack of food, medical attention, and water. Those 3 things will cause you to perish. And we're not even thinking about the anarchy that is created from people not having these things, from other people that's not having these things. They're family people. After you reach a 7-day period, other things start to kick in. This is why it's critical that you focus on me, myself, and I, and protect your sanity. Because after 7 days, if something happened, that means stores are closed, can't get medical supplies. We're talking about a 30-day period where either a pandemic, PLANdemic, or PANdemonium, a natural disaster or something like that, and shut it down. And shut it down for 30 days. People are going to start panicking. People will start to panic. Okay, 7 days, there would be people panic, but they won't develop stuff like cabin fever, different paranoias, and this is something you'll find out too. And this goes back to the 3-day thing. If you got other family members, you might be okay to go 3 days and you might be good, just me, myself, and I. But if you got children, you got a significant other, and they have habits, or if they have medical problems, habits or medical problems. Habits, I mean things like cigarettes. If you don't have, some people, if they can't have cigarettes, they don't have a problem. People can't have alcohol or smoke a joint, they don't have a problem. Okay, and you're gonna have to deal with them. You're gonna have to deal with them. So 1 to 7 days is a good way to find out who's on your team, who's in your boat. Uh, and we're going to go into that a little deeper. But as we look at projections and things that happen further down the road, now anything after 30 days, I'm talking about 90 to 180 days, there's no food. There's no food. Stores have closed. This is 90 days. This is what they're facing with right now over in the Ukraine. Over in the Ukraine. Over in the Ukraine right now, stores are not open. Okay? Medical supplies, hospitals are operating at a minimum. They under attack. They are under attack. Doctors got guns instead of, they fighting off the Russians. They don't, they only can take time out to treat the wounded and keep it moving. They are under attack. So after 90 days, if something happens, there's no food, there's no water. Red Cross is operating in a limited fashion. They run out of supplies, especially after 180 days. Anything after 180 days is considered doomsday. There's a government shutdown, chaos and disorder, survival of the fittest. You're basically on your own. You're basically on your own. Okay? So these 4 different areas. The lightweight is the 1 to 7 days. The next level is 7 to 30 days. The next one is 30 to 180 days. The next one is 1 year out. Right now, we talked a little bit about those things that you need. I'm going to address these real quick because these are some items that we suggest that people have. And I also encourage you to go to readygeorgia.gov. Readygeorgia.gov. There's a list of things and items that you need for storms, hurricanes, natural disasters. You go over there, you can find some stuff. But I'm gonna give you this right here. These are some things, and you can compare where you are right now. If you don't have some of these things, you might be in trouble. If you don't have some of these items, you might be in trouble. A water tank, a 275-gallon water tank. Believe it or not, a 275-gallon water tank. You can buy them for about $50. $50. A water tank. You can collect water. You can collect rainwater. People say they'll lock you up if you collect rainwater. But right now, if you got a big water tank, you can store water in there. And that water can be used for temporary things like a 1 to 7 day situation. Water, just a 275-gallon water tank. 1 year supply of survival food. Now, if you've been following us over on the We Are Ready page, and some of the companies that we partner with, one was Patriot Supplies. But there's many others out there that you can order food, survival food. For everybody that's in the military, you already know those rations that we used to have, you can pack them up and they didn't take up a lot of space. That's all survival food is. It's got a shelf life of something like 25 years. This is a little sidebar thinking. If you got these items, you can put them in a safe place in your home or one of your survival bags. Also, a water purifier. Like I said, you can purify water with chlorine, but most of us are not scientists. Most of us are not scientists or chemists, so we don't have that capability. They have, so you can order them on Amazon. Life straws. to purify your water. You can go into a sewer almost and drink the water with a life straw. They got them at Walmart, but I think one straw is good for about maybe 25 gallons of water. So you're gonna need a lot of them. Okay, paper towels, and toilet paper, facial masks. These things are critical. You know, people, if there's a situation, there's contaminants out there, uh, other, we know we masked up during COVID, but there are many things that a mask can help you survive. If they spraying pepper gas and things like that, all that stuff is necessary. Uh, I encourage you also to go to YouTube and look up and see prepping videos, prepping kits. They got them all over. And this is for long range and also short range. Seeds, so you can plant your own food and plant and grow your own food. If you don't have a garden, if you're not growing nothing, you are at the mercy of the food supply chain. You are at the mercy of the food supply chain. Right now, you can grow simple food. You can grow cabbage, carrots, onions, tomatoes, even peppers. They don't have to be hot. But seeds are important. And you can start a garden right now on your back porch. On your back porch. You can have that going. One of the things, and I always thought about it, I had my mother a garden. She ate out of her garden for almost 10 years. She planted and grew butter beans, all that type of stuff. And I think that helped her make it to 91. A garden, digging in the dirt. Also, solar panels. Solar panels. You know, going back again, if the first time I ever did a 3-day without power, cut the power off and cut the water off, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I was not ready. I didn't have, I had a flashlight, and I found out that the batteries dim on the third day. But as I got more into it, I had a wind up flashlight and a wind up radio. Okay, I still keep a wind up flashlight and a wind up radio for communication, stuff like that. But solar panels and generators. Now, generators, gas powered generators, if it's 1 to 7 days, 30 to 60 days, you might be good. You might be good. But once they run out of fuel, generators are no longer useful. Okay. You'd be like Mad Max. People be going out trying to find some gas. If you ever saw that video or that movie, check that out. Any movie that deals with surviving and a situation where all hell done broke loose, check them out. But solar power, they have so many solar powered devices. You have solar powered devices that can actually run your house. So look into that. But on a lightweight tip, lights, you can get solar powered lights for less than $20. And you'll have lights in your home. You don't have to worry about candles. Candles are okay, but there's a tendency for people to knock them over and start a fire. The worst thing you can do is burn up the place that you live in. So candles are good, but in the wrong hands, they can be a weapon of mass destruction. If you can get electric bike or bicycle, okay, that would be good. That would be good. This is something to have. Now, we, and I think Brother Paul shared this the last time, we call them bug out bags. A bug out bag is basically a bag. You should have a bug out bag in all your spaces that you occupy. My bug out bag, I've got about 8 bug out bags. I got a big bag that I keep at home. I've got a smaller bag that I'm always carrying with me. At my place of business, I got a bag. But these, even in the car, I got a bag, because these bags should have a couple of things in them. If you got any medical issues, you need to have your meds spread out so you can get to them. Okay. Now, if you can, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Try to get off these. If you can, try to get off this medication, because after 30, 60, 90 days, guess what? Especially after 180 days, Trust me, over in Ukraine right now, they cannot get insulin. They cannot get metformin for high blood pressure. They got sinuses. They can't get medication. Okay, hint, hint, clue, clue. Those folks have made an adjustment. Either they adjusted or they're in a position. Okay, a compromised position. Okay, but in the bug out bags, these are things, just lightweight things you can carry, get in there real quick. I keep a bottle of water. Okay, one thing you'll find out, until you discipline yourself, you'll go through the water in an hour. Okay, unless you start to discipline yourself. Once you start to discipline yourself, a bottle of water will last you maybe 3 days. Just one bottle. Okay, you're not gonna die. You know, if you just get a little pinch of water. Okay, and this is extreme situation. Uh, like I said, if you got any medical issues, make sure you got those things in your bug out bag. Also, make sure you have peroxide and Listerine. You mix them together. You can use that for hand sanitizer. You can use that if you get a cut, a spider. You might have to be outside, and one thing in the dark, things biting you, and all this type of stuff. You can spray this stuff over you, and you can ward off a lot of infections, things of that nature. Also, maybe a solar powered light. I also have batteries, backup batteries for my phone, things of that nature. But you got to think, stuff, if it's over 90 days, the phones are down. Okay? Phones are down. Anything over 90 days, the phone. No communication. That's going to cause chaos and disorder. People don't know what's going on, and they're going to be on their own. But in your bag, if you got one of those straws to purify water, like I said, you can buy those from Walmart. You can buy them from Walmart. They also have tablets that you can drop in water to clean it up. Also, if you got a bottle with a filter in it, you can use that to clean up your water. So the basic things that you got to have in that bug out bag are for your survival. A knife. Okay, you need a knife. Okay, you got to have a knife. If you don't have a gun, trust me, you need a knife. I keep a multi-purpose tool on me at all times that can be used for different things. A little pocket knife, different things that, screwdrivers and all that type of stuff. But all that's in that little pocket tool. That's a good device to have. Okay, we're talking about end time situations. I mean, if you don't have these things on your person, you're gonna be in some problem. You're gonna have some problem. A towel. Okay. Now the good thing about a towel, all-purpose towel, it goes back to if you're out for a suspended amount of time. I keep a towel because if I don't have a roll of toilet paper in my bug out bag, I'll let you do the math. So I got to keep a towel just in case. Okay. And that's also used for bathing and cleaning myself if I'm out for a long period of time. Believe it or not, if you look at some homeless people, some of them have bug out bags. Now, some homeless people are just homeless, but some homeless people are survivalist types. I mean, I've seen homeless people that didn't have no odor, and I was wondering what they was doing. They got a bug out bag. They wipe themselves down, clean themselves up, come out. I ain't saying they smelling like a bed of roses, but they're not smelling like everybody else. But in your bug out bag, there should be things that you can use to survive. And you'll find out what those things. These are just the basics. The basics. And plus, you can use a towel if there's a fire. You can wet it, and you can wet that towel with a little peroxide and Listerine, and it ain't gonna kill you. If you clean that towel with Clorox and you don't know how to mix up the Clorox properly, you end up killing yourself trying to get out of a fire or some vinegar or some ammonia. So this is why peroxide, and Listerine properly mixed is a great item to have in your bug out bag. Also in your bag, a plastic bag. A plastic bag. Plastic bags are good for disposing waste, but also they're good for keeping you dry, especially out and you get wet, uh, you will have a problem. Okay, so a plastic bag can be used for a raincoat, all those type things. Uh, and in cases, and I continue to put this out for men. There should be no men running around over the next couple of years wearing flip flops, hush puppies, or what are those little plastic shoes? I see women out there with flip flops. If you want to survive, worst thing you can have is improper shoes. Okay, so from now on, word to the wise. Every time you leave the house, you should have on a proper shoe. Okay, just in case you won't make it back, or you might have to travel a little bit to get back. Okay, we are in a situation where we have to prepare like that. I'm not pushing doom and gloom hard, but hey, if you practicing survival techniques, you need to have proper clothing. And if you can, I just have to put it out like this. If you ever been camping or hunting, people that go camping and hunting, they already doing this. People that go camping and hunting, they are already doing this. Okay, they're prepared to be outside of their home for an extended period of time and come back. Okay, now if you got a gun, make sure it's registered. Okay, if you got a gun, make sure it's registered. Okay, now a weapon is needed because when other people don't have what you have, the biggest thing is protecting what you have. Okay. Now, first order of defense is your hands. Okay. I mean, it's going to be imperative that you practice some form of defense to get away from people because you done pack your bag. You got all these things that are necessary to survive. And guess what? Somebody's going to take it. If you look weak, you look like they're going to take it. All the time you spent putting your stuff together, they'll come in your house and take your water. They'll come in your house and take your food. They'll come in your house and take you. Okay? So these type of situations, if it gets out of hand, trust me, over in Ukraine right about now in Ukraine, families have to tighten up. If they hadn't tightened up, they had to tighten up. The women and children are at the mercy of Russian troops. They just coming in, taking them at will. Now, if something happens like that, I'm talking about where it's all hell and broke loose. It's anarchy. Every person for themselves. Okay. So you're gonna have to learn how to defend yourself. Also, and you can do this now. I encourage everybody. You should have, if you're in a neighborhood right now, like I said, one of the first things you can do is go without power for 3 days. One of the next things you can do is start communicating with your neighbors. Your neighbors might not be the same people in your neighborhood. Your neighbors might not be the same people in your neighborhood. Your neighbors that you can work with might not be the same people in your neighborhood. So you might have to network with some other neighbors, some people are like-minded that ready to roll. You might have to leave your neighborhood and go to another group setting to be safe. You might have to leave your neighborhood and go to another group setting to be safe. Case in point, I had a lady, she was down in New Orleans. When Katrina happened, her mindset was to get to another section of town. But she already knew the folk in her section were not cooperating. Okay? So she had to get and link up with some more like-minded people. Those people, she was able to survive. As a woman, in a situation, even as a man, it's hard. But as a woman, in a situation where it's all chaos and disorder, you are at the mercy of whoever shows up. You are at the mercy of whoever shows up. So we do encourage you to get some training on firearms. I think everybody should have a shotgun. Everybody should have a shotgun. Shotgun. I mean, still very efficient. You don't have to have a permit for a shotgun. But it's right there to defend yourself. Uh, also, now just say we're in 2 weeks. Just say gas prices are going up, food prices are going up, all this stuff is chaotic. Well, you're gonna have to figure out some people within your neighborhood or your community. Your community is anybody that's willing to work with you. Okay. So you might have to build some alliances with some people, start building some alliances with people. Should stuff go bad, the neighborhood stores might not have food. Just say they rationing out gas. And I saw this when they were rationing out gas. It was important to know somebody that had a gas station. It was important to know somebody that had a gas station. It was important to know somebody that had a gas station. You got people that need cigarettes. It's important and urgent that they know somebody at a convenience store. People stealing cigarettes and all this type of stuff. These are things that will happen in a very chaotic situation. And again, we point back at pandemic, PLANdemic, or PANdemonium. Are you ready? Will your family be ready? Okay. So if you got family members that are on medication, whether it's legal medication or other medication, at certain time periods, they're going to have to go out and get some of this stuff. We ran into these problems when COVID first hit. There were people that were quarantined to their homes. People that were quarantined to their homes, families that had problems with their loved ones. Okay. And it got out of hand. There were some violent situations because people were already afraid, already scared. You had somebody that was going up to the store to get a pack of cigarettes, going up to the store to get some beer, going up to the store to get items that were not necessary for the whole family survival. So the family or that community had to make a decision not to let them back in, not to let them back in. So you got to look at these type of situations. There would be people, and these are situations where it's 30 days or more. 1 to 7 days, you might be able to control the people in your circle. I mean, right now you should be looking around your family and seeing who's going to be a problem. If you put these little scenarios up where you do 3 days without power, you can start seeing who's going to act up. Okay, who's going to act up? You can need to know this before you get into it. You need to know which of your neighbors are not a good neighbor to go knock on the door. Okay, you need to know this today. You say, that is not a neighbor I'm going to be knocking on the door. Okay, because you might run into a problem. Okay, you got your bug out bag, you got all your things that you need for yourself, but you got to also think if you got some people in your neighborhoods. I've been in several neighborhoods. There are some people that have mental problems. Okay, you got to know this. Okay, these folks gonna start looking for stuff, and you're gonna have to be in position either to defend yourself, to protect yourself at all times. Everybody's gonna act up. See, it's kind of easy how we doing now, but when you look at any situation, I don't care what the let's say it doesn't matter what the economic level is. They can be rich or they could be poor. People start to behave like animals when they don't have the things they need to survive. That's why it's critical that you put the time, energy, and effort now to get yourself in position. Anything that you can think about putting in that bug out bag that's relevant to your survival, that's relevant to your survival. There, little snacks. If you can't afford those survival kits, they can be kind of expensive, but you can put peanuts, you can put cereal, little packs of things that you can survive on. Uh, in my pocket now, I got almonds. I keep almonds on me. I can take an almond, and if I feel hungry or the urge to eat something, I can bite on that almond, and it'll curb my appetite. Plus, it's they make almond milk, so there's a little there's some nutritional value to these things like nuts. They not salted. Uh, they nutritional, especially if you're out here humping on your own. You're gonna have to have the strength to either outrun or get away from people. Okay, if you ever saw these movies, and I don't know if the fellows made it in there yet, but if you ever saw these movies where people are zombie out, they're coming to get water, food, and you. They're coming to get water, food, and you. Medication, anything they can get. Okay, so you're gonna have to put yourself in a position of survival. Right now, it's not chaotic. Right now, it's not chaotic. There's a lot of things that happen. A lot of people seeing signs. Uh, Gas prices going up, medicine is going up, food is going up. It's going to be food shortage. If they ran out of what's that? Baby formula. If they ran out of baby formula, don't you know they can run out of anything else? Okay, anything else, they can stop it, and it'll be chaos and disorder. And the people look and observe people get picked off. It'll be survival of the fittest. So again, going back to putting a team of people together, if it gets bad and you can make it to a group. One thing I learned with the preppers, and I hadn't been out there in years, but there was a prep site, and we had a open conversation one night. They said, "Well, if it got bad," and I lived in Atlanta. Most of those folks were living out in Woodstock. They said, you can come out here, and if you come out here, it's like a sanctuary. They got, I mean, after a certain time period, they would shut it down. This long before COVID. This was one of the things they said. They say, because I joined that group, and there was a brotherhood within that group where we had, some type of loyalty. And I knew if it got bad and I was able to make it a Woodstock, I was going to be okay. Okay. And even if I had to walk to Woodstock is about maybe 30 miles, 30, 40 miles from where I'm at. And this is the other thing. You got to get familiar with your surroundings. You got to get familiar with your surroundings. If you hadn't walked around your neighborhood, if you hadn't walked observed certain things, in some neighborhoods, there are streams. If you need water, there are streams and lakes and ponds in neighborhoods. A lot of people don't even realize that these things are in their neighborhood. I was in a neighborhood, and they had a lake that was already fish was in that lake. It was a stream that fed off of a river, and fish was in there, and people were going back in that little spot fishing. They've been doing it for years. So in your neighborhood, there could be things in your neighborhood. Now, we talked about seeds and food and storage and things like that. There's another I can't think of the name of the book, but one of the things in there, they mentioned what they call backyard groceries. Backyard groceries. If it gets really bad, I mean, if you got a garden, you got backyard groceries. You planted stuff. But just say you don't have a garden. Just say you don't have a garden and you need to survive. There are many things, plants, herbs in the wilderness, but you got to know what it is. You do not want to be chewing on poison ivy or poison oak. So you got to know the differences between some of these things. There are plants that you can use to provide nutrition to your body, but you got to know these woods. That's why it's good every now and then, after you go from 3 days without power and water. I mean, without power and water. It's good to spend a night in the woods. Okay, I know a lot of people hadn't done it since they were Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, and some people hadn't done it since they were in the military. I was in the Navy, so I never spent a night while I was in the Navy. Okay, I was always on a ship or a building. But it's important that you learn how to spend a night out in the wilderness. Okay, for survival purposes. You need to know what things you need to keep mosquitoes off. Okay, vinegar is a good thing. Vinegar is a good thing to keep a lot of bugs off. If you put some vinegar in something, I mean, it'll keep them off you for a little bit. Okay, it'll keep wild animals from bothering. Trust me. At night you sleeping out in the woods. You're gonna have to figure out uh, how to curve out you a piece of land where you can sit down and you don't have to worry about outside predators. One of the things you'll notice, people that live in the woods often have a dog. They won't bring a cat, but they will bring a dog. Two reasons you bring a dog. One, a dog will alert you of danger. And also a dog will make sure ain't nothing coming around. Okay? If you wanted, if you ever look at I Am Legend, Will Smith, he had a dog. He had a dog. So in end time situation, it's best to have a dog than another human being. It's best to have a dog than another human being. Plus, you give the dog just a little bit to eat. The dog will be okay. The dog will work with you and be your friend. Look out for you. You'll be able to sleep at night in peace. Okay, you'll train the dog not to bark and all that type of stuff. But these are certain things as the situations get complicated. Trust me, over in the Ukraine right now, they got chaos and disorder. Survival skills are at an all-time high. Some of those folks didn't get a chance to get a bug out bag. Okay, they didn't get a chance to get a bug out bag. Some of these folk are using raw materials for weapons. Okay, they already ran out of bullets. They already have exhausted food supplies. They on their own. They are on their own. So here in America, before it gets out of hand, okay, they can so many things can happen. You see uh, decisions being made where people are outraged. January 6th, we saw people go nuts, took over the Capitol. Recently, with abortion, you saw people go out there into the streets. Okay, now these are what we call man-made situations. Okay, where the public starts to act up. You might have to be sequestered to your home. There might be people that come into your neighborhoods and all these things. So you got to know your neighbors. I mean, I'm not telling you to go out and do the investigative report on your neighbors, but certain things you need to know, and you got to know where you can go just in case something breaks loose. Just in case something breaks loose. Just in case something breaks loose. Uh, if you have transportation, make sure you keep gas. Make sure you keep gas and make sure that you take care of your tires, your maintenance, and all that type of stuff. The worst thing you can do is be loaded up in a vehicle and it gets stranded. It stops. Okay. That's why bicycles, things of that nature. I also encourage people to pray, fast, meditate, strategize. Right now, we've been putting this out, and this is going to help any and everybody. Uh, with all the stuff that's coming at us, okay, we can look and just stay in doom and gloom mode. We can put our heads in the sand. There's a lot going on. Every time you turn on the news, every time you turn on a situation, even when it comes down to school shootings, shootings in the neighborhood, shootings at churches, mosques, malls, you've got to be ready. Okay, you have to be ready. I encourage you to travel light. Like I said, these are times where you don't go out in flip flops and hush buttons. Okay, people start running in a large crowd, and you got a pair of flip flops on. You're gonna get trampled. Okay, you're gonna get trampled. And most of us, once we get ran over by other people, we know good. You're gonna get hurt. Pay attention to your surroundings. Stay in the best shape you can possibly stay. Okay. I encourage everybody to run, walk, crawl, hop, clap your hands for 5 minutes in place of whatever. Because if something breaks off in the mall, something breaks off at a festival, you should be able to run a half a block to get out of it. You should be able to run at least a half a block to get out of it. Okay. To seek cover. You're gonna have to be able to travel light. If you got a lot of loose stuff on you, you might and not to scare people, but to impress upon you the sense of urgency. There are people that are planning major and big things. They just blew up the stones over there in Conyers the other day. Lucky nobody was out there, but there are people out here doing all kind of things. All events that are coming here to Atlanta, we have to put ourselves in position so we can survive. So that we can survive. Continue to pray, fast, meditate, keep your eyes, your third eye open, all this stuff. But at the same time, stay ready. The only way you can stay ready is be watchful, be observant. Don't get so bombarded with all this information that you don't have the basic things that we outlined tonight. If you don't have the basic things that we outlined tonight, you, your family, will be at the mercy of whoever shows up. It will be at the mercy of whoever shows up. Now, a lot of those things you can do tonight. You can get an extra bottle of water. You can start putting the bug out bag together. You can start doing a little medication maintenance. You can start getting yourself in some type of shape so that if something does break out, you're not at the mercy of whoever shows up. We're gonna have to, you're gonna have to be like soldiers over the next, especially before the year turns 2023. We got about 4 months left in this year, 4 or 5 months. Over the next 4 or 5 months, you can be ready in the next 30, 60, 90 days for whatever shows up. And you might not be ready for everything, but at least you won't be the weakest link. If you're the weakest link, guess what they're going to do? They'll leave you, just like in Ukraine. The people that over there that didn't have the money or the means or the motivation to leave early, guess what? They stuck. Okay? If something breaks out in your neighborhood, something breaks out here in America, you don't have the money, the means, or the motivation, or the methods to get it to survive, you're gonna be stuck. And when you're stuck, you're at the mercy of whatever shows up. If you're in a neighborhood and that neighborhood has already been abandoned, all your neighbors then went south, and you're the only one in there, guess what? You're gonna have it's gonna be like I mean, whoever comes in there is gonna be scavenging, looking for food, money, resources, and you. Food, money, resources, and you. Anything they can get. You might be the only one in there. Everybody else left. So you need to keep your eyes and ears open. Okay? Pay attention at all times. And this is Reginal Drummer, the Peopleologist. And tonight we were talking about preparing ourselves for a pandemic, a PLANdemic, a PANdemonium, or a PANdemic. So it's going to be painful. It's going to be a PANdemic if you don't do those things that are necessary to put yourself into a better position. Also, I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe over here at Square Mile Media Atlanta. Click that bell for notifications. I think we on our, I don't know what episode this is, but we about to break 100 episodes. So we give ourselves a round of applause for that. And thank you all for paying attention to us. Thanks to Miss Adrian for producer extraordinaire with the mostest, keeping us live. Thanks for all the guests that have appeared on, especially over here, the We Are Ready show, and the Good News show, and Expose, and a couple other shows. We got a lot of work to do, and we have to look at ourselves. We have to figure this thing out. But it's not hard. This is not the first time we've been challenged. It won't be the last. But I want you to look at Ukraine as an example and think about it. If you were in that position, could you survive? This is Reginal Drummer, the Peopleologist, and I love you like God loves the world. Think about this. The secret to walking on water, just knowing where the rocks are. So take care. Make it a powerful day. We'll see you at the top from the top. Remember this. Take care of yourself at all times. Nobody's coming. And if they do come, they won't have your best interest.